Hello, hi everyone. If you are here, just say hi in the comments. Happy weekend. Hi everyone. Yeah, okay, so yes. Oh, sorry about that. I have a lot of devices here. So let us know where you're joining us from. Okay, I think I've pinned that there. And happy weekend to us. So yes, you know, Temitope Oyedemi. Comment section is locked. Okay guys, wait for 2 minutes. Let me check what is going on. Okay. Comment section. Okay, but I see people already saying I. Aha, the comment section is open. I can see hello, I, and all of that. Nice one. So we don't have issues with comment. Hi Vera. Can you help us check if there's any issues with comment session? Because as it is, I can see that a lot of us are already joining and commenting. Very Abdullah, Sulaiman, Favor. Oh, nice one. I can see familiar names here. Thanks for joining. Hope we didn't interrupt your Saturday too much. Hopefully we'll be done with this in 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Okay, a lot of us are joining from Lagos. Let's wait a little before we move into this topic. I want it to be very interactive, so you will ask me questions when I'm done talking, because it's not going to look like a class. I only have one image prepared for us, so it's going to be more of a practical class, a practical discussion. Victor, you're welcome. Dare, you're welcome. Sulaiman, you're welcome. Favor, you're welcome. Okay, I can only see 6 of us. Okay. Nice one. So we will start all the same because I don't want to disrupt the timing for this program. So since we don't really have new faces here, I mean all the names are really familiar. I think I know you guys. We'll just proceed. We don't need introducing that this is QA Fit Community, right? So we'll just continue with what we have prepared today, which is becoming an excellent QA. Okay, so can someone from the chat room tell us when you're thinking of this topic, what comes to your mind? What do you think? I know the topics were brought up by the community members, Dari, Vera, and others. They brought up this topic. So when you are thinking about this topic, what comes to your mind? Am I audible? Please let me know if you can hear me. I think we might have some time lag thing. I might have started streaming before time, but that is not a problem. Okay. Yes, I'm audible. Okay, now I think we can continue. So I can see response now, we can continue. So becoming an excellent QA, you see, it's for me, I'm looking at my experiences over the years. What really stand out is that a word excellent. We have a lot of QA engineers in the industry today, both within Nigeria and outside of it, a lot of them. But a few quite stands out. And these few ones are really making waves in the software industry. Because you can't talk about a QA engineer without associating the keyword software. Because what will you be testing, or what will be the quality or whatever you're talking about if software is not involved, if product is not involved, right? So yeah, we're talking about software applications, right? And then you're talking about QA engineers. For those starting up, just coming up, and perhaps mid-level also, or if you're not used to technology and you just moved into technology, I think this is also very important for you. So I prepared, I have an image here. It's not a slide. It just shows a summary of what I want to discuss here today. So basically, I've come to a conclusion that for you to become an excellent QA, you have to be 100% in two aspects. And the 100% is, these two aspects talks about your soft skills. I want to make it as clear as possible. So this 100% talks about your soft skill. In your soft skill, you have to be 100%. In your hard skill, you have to be 100%. Sorry guys, it is still 100%. So in two aspects, an 100% excellence and 100% excellence in hard skills. So the question right now is, what are the soft skills we're talking about here, right? And what are the hard skills we are talking about here? Okay, So this takes me to our next point, guys. This takes me to our next point. Can you see my screen? I have a screen here that shows becoming an excellent QA. It's an image. So what do you need to become an excellent QA? It's not showing very well, but I think if you zoom out from your end, you should be able to see my screen as it is. All right, so I have a quick breakdown here for you. Some of these skills here that you see on the screen belong to the category of soft skill. Others belong to the category of hard skill. So number one, the list talk about products SDLC. It is not necessarily number one. What you need to look at is the percentage. Actually, when you are going by the percentage here, the number one is communication. Okay, so communication has what? 30%. And the reason I put 30% for communication is this. Because as a QA, you have to deal with a lot of stakeholders. First of all, you deal with your normal team, other QA members. You deal with product manager. You deal with whoever you report to, maybe engineering lead, right? And so on. Maybe Scrum Master. You understand? So you deal with different people. Even in some organizations, you get to deal with business partners, right? So here we come. Communication has to do with feedback loop. You're trying to pass across a message to someone, all right? They understand what you are passing across to them. They work on it. They get back to you, or even if they don't get back to you, you give a follow-up, right? And then you get a feedback, and then they also give you a feedback. You give them a feedback. So it's a two-way thing. Communication in QA is a two-way thing, and you have to be able to recognize how to communicate, right? This is the world of evolving technology. COVID-19 has exposed us to remote works, right? Meaning that in the confines of your house, you have an home office somewhere. You don't get to see the people you're communicating with, but somehow you have to pass across your message. So we have different platforms for doing that, and trust me, communication takes the highest percentage in this that I'm looking at. So if you've been slacking in this area, I know it's not really easy. Everyone is developing it. There's no senior QA engineer today that is still not developing these communication skills. I am still working on it. So trust me, you keep working on it and it keeps getting better. So talking about communication, talking about feedback loop, you're talking about asking questions, right? All of this still belongs under communication. You have to be able to ask questions. What you don't understand, if you don't understand, you ask, right? And there's no question that is stupid. If you have gone through the documents, you have gone through the technical details, you have gone through the reviews, the user story, the whatnot, everything, and you discover that you have more questions, instead of you getting it, you still have more questions, then you better ask those questions. So asking of questions, feedback loop, and general communication on products, right? Product details, product documentations, bug documentations, bug tools, and so on. You need to be able to communicate. So I give it 30% here, and it belongs to the category of soft skills. Like I said, we have soft skills and we have hard skills. For you to become an excellent QA, you cannot throw it out, right? It has to be like part of you. So we have communication. I think the next percentage to this is what? Yeah, 20%. That's technology. What that simply means is I was looking for a general broad name to give it, because talking about technology is really broad. Yeah, you have to talk about your testing skill sets, right? Software testing strategies, software testing methods. You have to talk about if you know how to use certain tools, Postman for API automation or REST assured or whatever, or you even write programming languages for automation. These are technical skills. And another thing that belongs under technical skills is problem solving, right? So your ability to understand a problem, right? Ability to go through logs and understand where something is not working. Your ability to now communicate this for proper solution is what we call problem solving. If you were to be a full stack developer or so, there are some full stack QAs that also fix problems. All right, we know debugging is different from actually fixing these things. As a QA, your own is to spot these bugs and to report them, right? But we also know that there are some QAs that fix these problems. Yeah, you will get there. So they discover it and then they fix it, right? So your ability to be able to solve problems under pressure, especially to work under pressure, to be able to deliver quality at the right time, right? Time management is part of it. I wanted to include it here, but it works most importantly with your technical capability. So it's still going to come under technical capability. Some people can categorize time management under hard skill, right? But trust me, it is an hard skill. Time management is an hard skill. It's not a soft skill, the way I look at it, because whatever you are doing, whatever your deliverables are in software testing has to deal with timelines. And there is no way you will tell me time management is soft. No, it is hard skill. It's one of the skill sets you have to develop, because you work with release timelines. You work with software testing timelines, right? Different kind of timelines, product timelines, deliverables that are time bound, right? There are customers already in the loop. They are waiting for those features to be released, and probably management have even given dates for those release. So this is fixed. Maybe in some organizations they change timelines as a wish, but trust me, these kind of timelines, even if they change plus or minus 2 weeks or so, it's not the type that you're supposed to make a release this month and then you shift it by 6 months. No, then it's probably not a release timeline, right? So you get to work with timelines. So because you get to work with timelines, your time management is very essential. And sometimes if you are working on complex applications, complex systems, especially applications that has different user variables. What do I mean? What I mean is there are applications that they have their desktop version, and then they have their mobile version, and then they have their operating system versions, right? Mac, Windows, web view somewhere, and then all those different versions, and you just know that the same scenario you have to check on, these different these different versions, so it gets to take more time, right? So you have to be able to do what? You have to be able to manage your time well. And we also know that, I mean, poorer people also have their own input when it comes to time management, because if a task is supposed to be supposed to use let's say 5 days, if you're supposed to use 5 days to test some functions, and then probably the product manager assigned 2 days to it, as a QA you're supposed to look at it, be able to analyze it, and know that this is not going to take 2 days, because we're still going to do this and do that and do that. It's supposed to take 5 days, and you must be able to also justify why you are saying it should take 5 days, right? So trust me guys, time management is part of technical skill set. Apart from you being very good software tester, you know what software testing strategies are, you know what prioritizations are, you know what prioritizations, I don't want to go into that, you know what prioritizations are, you know software testing techniques, right? Probably you even know automation. You know how to quickly execute automation codes for your regression scripts and all of that, right? You know how to use tools to manage your test cases, to manage your bugs, maybe test trail. You know how to use Jira for creating user story and all of those things, right? So those are technical skill sets, and trust me, I give it only 20%. Now, I know you have questions, so let me just go through this chat quickly, and then you can ask your questions. So I started with 30% communication, 20% technology. What is next to 20%? I think we have 15%. There are two 15% on this board. Let me talk about the first 15%, which is product SDLC. Talking about product, right? It means product under test. Of course, as a senior QA, you probably have experience working on different kind of products, maybe like banking applications, financial applications, CRMs, right? Salesforce application. I mean, you have experience probably because of the numbers of years you have used in the industry. But in the context of the product I'm talking about here, I'm talking about the current application you are testing. Application under test, AUT. Now, you have to be able to understand the product you are dealing with. This product, what is the customer base? Because if something should fail, what is the risk level? How will the business be affected? Right? Not only that, you are not just understanding the user stories alone. You are understanding the basis. Alright? You understand the system conceptualization of when they say this is the expected results. You are asking yourself, why is it the expected result? Right? That means that you have an in-depth knowledge of the product and its users. You understand from the angle of users. If I were to be a user using this product, what will I expect to see? You understand from the angle of the business owners. If it is a product that is made for business owners, you understand from the angle, you understand the technical details. If it is a product in which you require a third party to integrate into your product, you understand the technical details for this product. You understand that, okay, account number should always be what? String. I'm just saying. some, maybe some part of the country, in some countries, account number is probably just what? Integer. But for this product, they are saying that the account number should be string. And you understand why. Because it's not just numbers, it also has alphabets. You know, IBAN and so on. So what I'm trying to say is, you have a deep knowledge in the aspect of the product you are testing. And when I say /SDLC, that is software development life cycle, I'm talking about what are the software testing processes involved. What are the testing processes? What is the development processes? What are the components attached? Infrastructure aspect, right? Do you need some remote servers to check, to test some components on? Do you need some kind of deployment tools? Do you work with some kind of deployment tools? Do you need to understand them? Do you understand the implication of these tools on this application? If any of it failed, do you understand which aspect failed? Can you even communicate which aspect has failed to the product owner or whoever is in charge? Alright, this makes you have the same kind of knowledge the product owner has. Though you are a QA, but you can also function in the capacity of the product owner, right? So you understanding the application under test is what? 15%. Now, let's move on. There's another 15% here, and it is what? Attention to details. Your attention to details means that you are able to read between the lines. It also means that when you are in meetings and you're supposed to contribute, you're able to read in between the lines, understand what you're supposed to say, understand the questions and know the questions you're supposed to ask. When you are given a documentation, you're able to read and understand, including the details that may not even appear visible, right? And if something looks like there might be complication, maybe after development, or there might be issues while testing, or probably, I know there are some features or some products, that are some features of the product that there is some kind of dependency. Maybe it is not my unit that is going to do this aspect. Maybe it's another unit that will do it. Then you understand that, because of these dependencies, it might actually take a little bit more time for this feature to be completed, right? You know all of that. You have attention to detail, right? And talking about dependencies now, you also have to factor in that into your timeline. There are some features you will test, right? Talking about feature testing now. Now, feature you will test in an application for an application under test that you know that have some kind of dependencies and might increase what will I call it now? It might increase the numbers of days or numbers of hours that it will take for testing those features. You have to consider that before you even start testing, before you start the testing process. So your ability to be able to pay attention to details, and if there will be complications in some areas, you have to be able to know early. All right, you have to be able to know early and give proper feedback on them. So yeah, attention to details is 15%. I also have 10% here on the board, which is documentation. Documentation entails your test case documents, your bug reports, or your bug management tools, right? Your product management tools, also technical documentation, right? I don't know if any of you, looking at my audience now, I'm trying to see if I have more people that has joined. Okay. I think we only have 11 or so. So, talking about documentations, some people will document. Some junior QAs are the ones that create test cases in some organizations, and perhaps the senior QAs are the ones that write the test reports or the release notes, right? And for some organizations, they have dedicated QAs, technical QA, all right, that does all the documentation, whether it is ST reports, release, test cases, or whatever. They are in charge of just scripting, writing of documentations. So, and of course, in some other organizations, they write, they do everything. They are jack of all trades, right? So, but whichever category you belong to, just know that if you don't document properly, even you yourself, you will not understand if a bug repeats itself in the future. If it repeats itself in the future, you go back to your previous bug reports, right, to check. This bug occurred so last month. What are the steps it takes to reproduce this bug? Was it fixed? What is the developer comment? What is the tester's comment? Who tested the feature? So these are the things that are entailed in documentation. So talking about documentation, you have to be able to provide something detailed, and if it is not you that is coming back later, if it is another keyword that's coming back later, then they have to be able to read and understand what you've written, right? They should be able to understand your bug report, understand your ST report, understand your test case document, your test run document, your automation development document, your testing strategy document, and so on. Right, let's move on. We have 5%. There are 5% on this board. One talks about EI. EI is under the aspect of soft skills. So in case you are wondering what are the soft skills on this board, we have communication, we have EI, and we have attention to details. Those are the soft skills we have on this board. That's 30 plus 15 plus 5, 50%. Then for the technical aspect, we have the product, the technical or technology, the documentation is an hard skill, and then the language and or tools. So yeah, let's talk about EI. That's emotional intelligence, in case you're wondering. That has to do with your leadership skills, has to do with empathy, has to do with your mental stability, has to do with your confidence and curiosity level, right? Has to do with how you cope with stress and pressure. That's your emotional intelligence, and it also has to deal with how you respond to pressure, how you respond to feedback, how you respond to your teammates and your bosses. That's what emotional intelligence is, because your work is continuously under criticism as a QA, yes, your work will be criticized. It is normal, nothing personal. It's part of the profession. Because most of the time you have to work under pressure. Because you have to deliver with timelines, right? So there is a need for you to develop mental stamina. And when they say that, oh, this reproducible step you've written, this thing is not well written, you don't say that is what we have been using. No, you look at it, check what you've done, and see areas for improvement. You accept, and then what? You improve, because it's not enough you for you to identify that, oh, this is not okay, oh, this is no, it is not enough for you to say I accept. It is, but the most important thing is for you to change that, to work on it, and make sure it reflects in your work. So emotional intelligence, and most of the time emotional intelligence is categorized under intelligence as a whole, because when you have, or when you are emotionally intelligent, it means that you are capable, right, of solving problem, of being creative, all right, and you are capable not only emotionally but also in other technical areas. So working on one's emotional intelligence makes people look at you as being capable, and it also shows your confidence level, right? And when people see that you are confident, there is a certain view that they will also see. They will see that you are capable of being a leader too, because there's no way you have 100% or 80% in emotional intelligence and it will not be associated with leadership capability, right? Good. Let's move on. We have the last and the least, language and tools, 5%, right? Initially I wanted to categorize this to under technical, but technical is mostly problem solving, right? But talking about what are the tools you use for this problem solving, your ability to navigate around these tools, I think that involves maybe your automation tool, or when you're talking about language, you probably need to pick up a programming language, Java, Python, JavaScript, whatever, and then tools like JMeter, Selenium, Postman, and so on. TestRail, Jira, your ability to be able to navigate around these tools, Jenkins, GitHub, Bitbucket, Confluence, and so on. So your ability to be able to navigate around these tools, you must be able to know how to use them as a QA engineer. Now let me go back to this technical. I think there was something I omitted in technical technology 20%. I think that also involves you having knowledge or capacity in the aspect of, as a QA, you should be able to have maybe like certain percentage in product, certain percentage in DevOps, another percentage in IT security, another percentage in maybe software development, because all of these things are all related to what? QA, or related to QA engineering. So you ask, how can I become an excellent QA? There's some things I didn't involve on this list. Let me tell you what I did not add to this list. Noise making, right? We have a lot of noise makers in the industries today. Trust me, I didn't add noise making to it. And I wrote something here in my other notes. I said Noise making versus references. You probably don't know what that is. Now, starting up as a QA and having your eyes fixed to be an excellent QA and working at it to be an excellent QA, one thing you should never start with is noise making. It's a no-no. Now, instead of noise making, choose references. What do I mean? I think I remember when I started QA. I started in a company as a BA QA. I was company trained, and when I was leaving that company, in fact, I left before I got another job. I think because of the stress, then low salary, and a lot of other reasons, I left. And I remember telling myself that I would just go and learn more, and then maybe apply to other companies. But you will not believe this, that the next job I got was through recommendation, was through reference. Someone who worked with me as a developer in my previous company recommended me to someone where I eventually got that job. So, oh, you need QA. I know someone. I've worked with that. This person, that person said a lot of good, gave a very high recommendation. And that was it. And that was just my second job in QA. I was given references from my first job. It was not even up to a year. So, my advice will be, choose references or recommendations above what? Noise making. The reason I mention noise making, you see some people, they learn maybe how to use one small tool. They will now go on LinkedIn or go somewhere else, and then it's good to somehow want to be, for you to be visible, okay? But when you are still building capacity, when you're still 1 year into it, 2 years into it, you are building capacity. All you need to do is to what? Is to build your skill set and ensure that when you are leaving a place, you are getting references. Now, these references are not because you are asking for them. These references, they will speak for you even when you are not asking for them. Okay, you tell probably someone, I'm looking, I need to move to a new job, and then maybe you call some of your colleagues that you've worked with before, and you just explain your situation. Before you know it, you're recommended. And there are some jobs you will eventually get, even after that will be based on what recommendation. You don't even have to go through interviews. Why? Because of what you have done. Your work will do what? Speak for you. Now, as you grow, 3 years into it, 4 years into it, you begin to what? To show your capacity. Now, this is when you can now really make noise. Maybe not noise making in code, but at least now you are capable of passing on your knowledge and skill set to the next generation. You are capable now of what? Of teaching others, right? So I said, prioritize references above what? Noise making. Prioritize grit. There's another one I call grit. Prioritize grit above intelligence. You probably have a very high IQ. I don't know. You learn very fast. I don't know. You have this skill set, you have that skill set. Sometimes they might not really matter. Sometimes what matters more for you to move to that next level is grit. What do I mean by grit? Grit means your ability to consistently do something till you get the result. You're learning a programming language, it's looking as if it's difficult, you are not giving up on it because it is difficult. No. You keep at it, and you are not doing it maybe like haphazardly. You are being steady. You are being progressive. You are being intentional. That is what it means to have grit. It means that even when you look as if you should give up, you tell yourself, I can't give up. I can't afford to give up. That is what it means to choose grit over hard work or intelligence. Another and the last thing here is technology. Keep yourself updated with evolving technologies. Don't be old school. Don't think that because you learned A yesterday, A will always be A today. No, it's changing, it's evolving. New things are coming up, new skills that you are meant to add more new skills. There are more job requirements for you, right? So you keep evolving. And that is it. That's all I have for you guys. Right, so now you can start sending in your questions and ask your questions. As many questions as you have, you can send them in the chat. All right, so you can send in your questions. Do you have any question for me? Send in your questions so that we can run this up. Okay. In case you're having time lag, you can try to leave and rejoin, right? So that you are updated with what I'm saying here. It's possible to have network lag, time lag. So yeah, ask your questions, ask away. Questions? Okay, I think I can see a question from Dari. What tools are there outside of Postman for automation? So I think you know that Postman is for API automation, right? So if you're talking about API automation, Postman is really good for it. Another one you can use for Postman automation is probably Rest Assured. It's a Java framework for API automation. Now, but you can't just ask and say just automation. That's broad. There is web automation, there's mobile automation, okay, API automation. So we have different tools for it. And some tools are code, is it code or codeless automation as they call it these days. So yeah, Postman is good for API automation. If you're talking about web automation, you can learn a programming language. I would personally not advise plug and play automation tool or codeless automation tool. Why? Because technology is evolving. For QA engineers, AI is coming into play. I don't think plug and play is going to help us in the nearest future. Yeah. So, what you should be focused on if you are going into automation should be you learning a language and learning a framework for it and using it. Alright? So there are web automation tools, there are mobile automation tools like Appium, performance like JMeter, BlazeMeter, and so on. And there's also Cypress for web automation, those that write JavaScript and all of that. So yeah, those are the tools that are common these days. Can you describe a regular day of a QA person? Yeah. Hey. What is your regular routine as a QA? I know that. In fact, for a QA, once your day starts, you have to start listing what you will do for that day. Depending on your general team priority. If it is a period whereby you have a release in the loop, all right, and you probably have a timeline for it, then I know you can just prioritize those test cases that you will need to test for them. So you can put that under maybe software testing, and maybe under documentation you put update test case document, and perhaps under feedback communication you put, oh, I need to chat with or I need to call this also unit, and then what other thing. So every day you are in meeting, receiving calls, or calling someone. You are testing one test case or the other. You are updating one document or the other, right? What other thing? I think that's those three are mostly what you do every day, right? Having a meeting, making calls, right? Testing one test case or the other, updating your test case document, writing some documentations, and then eventually providing feedback. That is the way a regular day of a QA looks like, and that is just a QA in general. Now, depending on your role, your special role, there are performance QAs, there are security engineers, there are just general QA engineers, and there are some that are just software tester. The only thing they know is to test. There are some people that are just software testers, and apart from testing, all they do is to just test and have meeting, maybe daily meeting or something. So yeah, these things vary. I mean, it depends. Depending on your level of expertise, depending on your role, depending on and for automation engineers, they have to run code, execute codes, check pipelines, wonder why some test cases fail and try to fix them, and a lot of other things you do every day as a QA. But trust me, meetings, calls, and all of that and not something that you can escape as a QA engineer. All right, please share light on roadmap a QA person need to be excellent and stand out to the top. I already mentioned, and it is on your screen there. How many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So everything you see on this page are your roadmap, and take the percentage seriously. 30% communication, 20% technical technology capacity, 50% product XTLC capability, 50% attention to details, 10% documentation, 5% emotional intelligence, and 5% expertise with language and tools. Okay. Yes, someone says software tester. Yes, there are roles that are just software tester. I don't know if you have seen it before. So when you are applying for jobs, please be looking at the job title. It's very important. Apart from the job responsibility, check the job title. If there is a role they call software tester, just know that all you will be doing is what? Software testing. Of course, some companies we had more job responsibility to that role, but a software tester is a software tester. But a software QA is different. You already know that testing is just a subset of QA, right? So QA is what we do. QA is what we are talking about. Becoming an excellent QA, it is more than software testing. How do you cope with meeting with timelines, especially when the delay is from the dev team not allowing you to test when you're supposed to test? So the best way to cope is to align with the product team. So if there is, because the timeline normally is defined by the product team. If the product team has a defined timeline for the tester, and the developer, maybe the software feature the developer is working on is not ready, the developers are not ready, then it means that you have to align, you have to sync, meaning that you have to give feedback to the product team, the product manager, the product owner, the scrum master in charge. You have to give your feedback, let them be aware of what is going on, let them be aware of the new timeline you are proposing. Okay? Right. So because the delay is not coming from your end, the only thing you can do as a QA is to make sure that you prepare your test cases. You try to, that's what we call early testing. Early testing in itself is not the actual testing in itself. It actually starts with you understanding your product's requirement, user stories, and preparing documents forward, communicating those use cases forward before you then start the software testing phase, right? So you can do that, prepare till when the feature is available for testing. Right, did I answer that very well, Vera? Awesome guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for sending in your questions. Another thing I need to tell you, when you set goals, because I talked about grit versus hard work or intelligence. Working hard does not necessarily mean that you are working smart, or that you probably understand what you are doing, or that you will be good at it. It does not necessarily mean that. but having grit at it, meaning that continuously doing that one thing over and over, not stopping, not giving up, is what will help you in the long run. So prioritize that over hard work or intelligence. And I mentioned noise making too. I said prioritize recommendations and references above noise making. All right. Yeah, it looks like we have used 1 hour and we no longer have questions. Or do we have questions somewhere? All right, guys, thank you so much for being available for Is Favor still on the call? Favor, you don't have questions? Oh, Motolani, you don't have questions? Let me be going through the list of those that joined earlier. I don't know if they're still on the call. And Sulaiman, you don't have questions? Victor, I think Victor has asked questions though. So Victor, here is the roadmap. Is right there on the screen. Prioritize it by the degree of the percentage. Okay. Yeah. And with that, we have come to an end of today's call. Before I end this call, let's talk about our upcoming event in November. You're welcome. So in November 23rd, we are having a physical event at Yaba, Lagos, right? And we are working towards ensuring that everyone is present in that event. Right now we have almost 40 registered. I didn't check today though, but it's about that number. So when we're close to November, or in November itself, we will increase our social media presence for this event so that we have more people registered, right? So but for now we are fine. We are doing well with the numbers we are getting. With registration, it's okay. I mean, we can have more than this. Hopefully by the end of this month we can have maybe up to 60, and then by November maybe 20 more. We can have up to 80. But you know, when 80 people register for an event, like I always tell Vera, when 80 people register for an event, just be hoping for half of that number to attend. I'm not being pessimistic, it's just something I have seen over time. It happens for every event that people do. Anyway, so guys, you guys have been so awesome. We have a complete list of our guest speakers now. I called the last person yesterday and they gave me a positive feedback. So as it is now, we're going to be having about 5 guest speakers. We have 2 on ground already. I added 3 more. So we're having 5 guest speakers for that day, and it's going to be really awesome. So by the end of next week, we have a meeting with the community director and Dari, right? I will have a meeting with you guys on how we will schedule, how we will plan the the program, the event of the day, right? What other thing? I think that's about that. If you know anyone that is changing into technology or QA that may be able to attend this event, please invite them. Make them register for this event. It is solely for them, trust me. It's for the starters, it's for people changing roles, moving into technology, mid-level, it's for you to be able to build capacity. Thank you guys for attending and have a lovely weekend. Cheers. Like my people will say, yeah, choose. Bye.